Hi everybody, I'm Keelie and I am a newly qualified midwife. I have been registered now for around 3 months and I'm currently coming up to the end of my first rotation as a rotational band 5 midwife. So I'm fresh out of training and I'm going to be talking to you today about the transition from student midwife to newly qualified midwife. So I hope you enjoy. So coming up to the end of your degree, you will all be thinking about getting these 40 births that you need to qualify. The NMC standards are that obviously training midwives undergo a 3-year degree and do placements, clinical placement, as well as theory, and you have to have signed off certain proficiencies and competencies, in certain numbers. But the main things that we tend to be chasing towards the end of that 3rd year is our 40 deliveries that we need to have facilitated by the end of the degree. So for me, I was pulled off placement in 1st year because that is when the pandemic hit and we all went into lockdown and were pulled off placement and we were doing all of our learning online. Unfortunately for me, I was on my intrapartum placement, which meant that it was my very first placement of being involved in facilitating birth, and I never got those hours back. So I was behind on deliveries from the get-go, really. So for me, I had quite a few deliveries to chase, really, in my consolidation period towards the end of the degree. But I got there. It was a little bit stressful, but we got there in the end. So that's what you need to do at the end of your degree. You need to be making sure that you've got those 40 deliveries. When you have, you notify your university, who then notify the NMC, who is the Nursing and Midwifery Council. They put all the confirmation in through them, and then you need to sign up for your NMC PIN yourself. It's a one-off fee of, I think it was £250. So there was that, but then there was a bit of a waiting period. Now, I know that people qualify in nursing and midwifery at different times throughout the year, so they have their busy spells. So, you know, I think they were going through a busy spell when it came to me waiting for my PIN, because that 3-week wait felt like a lifetime. But in that time, I had my induction at the new hospital that I was moving to, did a lot of learning, training, e-learning, things like that. I got out of the way during that 3-week really long wait. So as I've mentioned, I actually moved trust. So I did my whole degree, 3 years at a big university hospital. Every obstetric emergency you can imagine I was exposed to, because it was just such a huge unit. But I made the decision to interview at my local trust that's closer to home for me. And I got it and I was really happy about it, but it did mean moving trusts. However, like a lot of my mentors, supervisors, and now colleagues have told me, and I agree, the best time to move, if you're thinking about moving trusts, is to do it as a newly qualified, because less is expected of you than if you wait until you're a band 6. You're not going to have as much support, and things do differ, which is one of the hardest things I've found in this transition from student to qualified. Is I've felt, and still do sometimes, still feel like I'm a student because I'm learning things for the first time. I couldn't believe how different a lot of the things are, just like equipment, clinical equipment that we use, drug formulas and different makeups of drugs are different to how we did it at the trust that I trained at. So it was a big leap, it was a big move, but I don't regret it. I'm happy that I did it because it's easier in terms of work-life balance. I'm a single mum, I'm closer to home now. The commute is literally 6 minutes down the road, as opposed to the half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes hour commute I was making the 3 years prior. So I'm happy that I moved. It's just has made my transition a bit harder, but I don't regret it. So when you start out as a newly qualified midwife, you are entitled to and you are meant to have supernumerary time. Everybody watching this, we all know that the NHS is in crisis at the moment, and that includes a very big maternity midwifery crisis going on nationally across the board in terms of staffing, in terms of burnout. And I've definitely started work in a time where that is very heightened. It's very noticeable from day one that staffing is a real issue, and it has affected my supernumerary time. As I said, I am on the antenatal and postnatal inpatient ward at the moment, so I look after numerous women at a time. We're supposed to have 4 weeks supernumerary period. I didn't get that because staffing didn't enable that. However, you know, colleagues, managers were confident in my ability to not have to have the 4 weeks. I was confident after about 2 weeks to go it alone anyway, and it was fine. However, just to stress to you guys watching, any newly qualified or anybody coming up to qualifying this year, just know that you are supposed to have a supernumerary period, and if you feel that you don't get enough, or if you feel like you need more supernumerary time, you need to just politely stand your ground and make sure that you get it, because at the end of the day it's all about making sure that we're competent, making sure that we're safe to look after these women, making sure that we're confident that we know what we're doing enough. Saying that, when you start off as a newly qualified band 5 midwife, you start off in a preceptorship program, and now this varies from trust to trust in terms of the quality of the program, so I definitely encourage you to do your research before you interview or before you make a decision on what trust you want to go to, because you want to make sure that that support's there. Thankfully, we've got a great program where I do feel well supported. And saying that as well, in terms of the supernumerary time on the ward that I'm on, I will be making sure that I get my 4 week supernumerary time when I move on to the labour ward. It's more of a high risk environment, it's more intense, the care is completely different, and I will be making sure that I have my supernumerary time 4 weeks, making sure that that definitely happens. So sorry to backtrack there. But yeah, taking advantage of the support around you. You start off in a preceptorship program with your preceptorship midwives who are there to support you. So whether it be that you work with them, and at our trust it's really great because they come and work with us on the labour ward and things like that. And when you qualify and become a rotational midwife, I think mostly nationally now, you do have to start on a rotational basis. So that could be starting on the labour ward, it could be starting on the low risk maternity unit, antenatal clinic, it could be having the opportunity to go out into the community, starting on the inpatient wards like I've started on, it could be triage, it could be induction. However your maternity unit works it, you're more than likely going to qualify into a rotational position, meaning that you get your supernumerary, and meaning that you get, you know, competent within all areas as a newly qualified midwife before you then move up to a band 6, where often you can then interview to go core in certain places. So yeah, overall, my transition from student life to qualified life has been quite smooth. It's come with its struggles. I didn't go into it with an unrealistic view that it wouldn't come with struggles. I still have struggles, and I'm very nervous about going onto the labour ward in March. But I think it's all about believing in ourselves. It's a very tough degree to even get a place on in the first place. We all know that. So the fact that we got a place on the degree, that we've had everything signed off, and we've signed off to be competent midwives, and we've completed the degree and got a job at a trust, we've got to believe in ourselves that we are worthy and that we are competent. We just need to take advantage of the support that we have there for us, and just being aware that, we're in a maternity crisis, things aren't easy, and to make time for a lot of self-care, which I do. I'm actually a single mum, so I did the Access course for a year and a 3-year degree on top of that, and then moved into a job, all with being a single mum. So if there's anybody in a similar position, or anybody with kids feeling like it's, it might not be doable, it definitely is if you've got the right kind of support around you. And finally, I have a Instagram account. My name on there is Midwife Keelie, Keelie, and I kind of document my transition from student to qualified life over there if you want to come and take a look. My inbox is open also for any student midwives who have any questions. I'm always there to try and help where I can. I hope you enjoyed this. I could talk for England on the subject, so yeah, definitely get in touch with me on Instagram if you want to know more. But yeah, thanks very much and good luck to you all. Bye.
I never imagined all of this would happen so quickly. My TikTok, on the other hand, kind of exploded overnight. So I went from about 300 to 15,000 on TikTok overnight.